Hi, I feel awkward recording myself, but hopefully that changes by the end of the month because I'm hoping to upload a video for every single day of Inktober, and this is the first one, so there's 30 more to go after this, so if it doesn't get easier, I have no idea what I'm going to do. For day one, the prompt was ring, and I had a lot of ideas for this piece going into it. But I don't know, I kept thinking of other things that had to do with the prompt ring, but in the end I felt like going with the rings of a tree would be something that would be a little bit more unique maybe. I'm not sure, maybe a lot of other people thought of this same thing, but I also thought it was something that would push me out of my comfort zone. I've been trying to do a lot more of that this year. Normally, I just like to draw portraits of girls, and so anything outside of that is outside my comfort zone. So this definitely was. I actually had a few thumbnails that did include a person, but in the end, I just liked the layout of what I ended up with more. And I actually have a video of me thumbnailing. I actually did it on my iPad, which you can see me referring to on the side of the screen. And actually have that recorded. I didn't put it in this video, but I might put it on Instagram or something. But as I was thumbnailing, I just liked the idea of it just being the tree in the forest, and I kind of wanted it to be glowing. In the end, I kind of get away from the initial colors that I used in my color comp on my iPad, but I like how it turned out. So right there, when I was using my heat gun to try to dry the watercolors, I actually burned my paper. So this is my first time using a heat gun. It's actually an embossing gun or something like that. And I got so close to the paper in an area that it wasn't even wet, and it burnt it. So later I actually use a gold ink in that area to kind of make it look potentially purposeful. I don't know if I succeeded, but it doesn't look awful. I'm okay with it. But this background gave me so much trouble. I kept doing layer after layer after layer, and I think my problem was that I kept forgetting how much lighter the inks would dry compared to what they look like when I put them on. And I'm not using the greatest paper in the world, so it definitely can't take a million washes. So that was a problem. I actually later have to re-tape down my paper. You can actually already see in the corner the tape starting to come off, and just because of how wet everything was getting, it started coming up. Oh, yep, here I am. I'm taping it. So I later had to go back and make the background even darker because no matter what I did, it didn't seem to be getting as dark as I wanted it to. Even in the end, it never really got to the depth that I wanted. I really wanted there to be a lot of contrast in this, especially since I decided to change things around and make the trees white and have the darkest values in the background. I feel like because I went down that route, I should have even worked harder to make the background dark. But I took a picture when I was towards the end with my phone, and in the picture it was showing up so much darker, and so I didn't know if it was just the lighting or no, just kidding, that's an excuse. I just didn't want to keep painting it. I was so done. I'd gone over with what felt like a billion washes, so I was definitely at my wit's end with that. But I think it's prepared me for the next pieces. I know that if I want it to dry to a certain darkness, then I shouldn't dilute it with so much water. even if it looks like it's going to be really dark, just because it dries much lighter than it appears to be. And I probably need to do some like practice washes on a piece of paper or something, just so I can get used to how much I need to dilute the water. So as I was working on this, it was definitely a warm-up for the month, because I think the last time I worked with ink was last year's Inktober. And it's not a medium I'm super familiar with. I had a college class where we had to use ink a little bit, but that section of the class was definitely a struggle for me, because even though in some ways it's really similar to watercolor, it has a lot of differences as well. And so it's just something that I've had to get used to over time. But I actually really, really like it as a medium. I love being able to focus on contrast, because I think that's something that I'm normally not very good with. I tend to use a lot of colors that are similar in value, and so I think going back to ink once a year is actually really good for me, because it makes me remember that you need to do more than just differentiate color to make a piece visually appealing. I mean, there's tons of things you need to do, but as far as colors go, you also have to pay attention to value. Well, at least I do, because sometimes I think I just start painting and I'm having fun and I forget everything I've learned. So it's nice to have a time where I'm paying attention to something specific. I feel like the highlight actually in this piece was kind of lame. I just definitely needed to darken up the whole piece, not just the background, just so that those pops of white, and even like the rings themselves, they're supposed to be glowing, and I did not accomplish that. So yeah, there's definitely things that I could have done better, but I still like it. I don't hate it. I'm aware of things that could have been different. At this point, I went back in and was varying the lines a little bit more. I'd initially gone in and outlined things just with one thickness across the board, just so that as I put the ink washes on, I had kind of a barrier between the parts that I wanted to leave lighter. And I definitely wanted the tree outlined to help it stand out from everything. I knew I wanted that to be a part of it. So I just went back in later and and varied the lines, just so that things looked more visually pleasing. I felt like this was a piece that wouldn't, like, a one thickness of line just wouldn't be ideal for it. It wouldn't add anything to it, so I think it needed it. There's me trying to darken the background again, and it did get quite a bit darker. Looking back at the video, I am actually like glad that you can at least tell that it's darker than the foreground. I love pulling the tape off at the end. I think everybody does. But that's the piece. Thanks for watching my first Inktober video. I'm really excited, so I'll be posting more every day this month, hopefully. I'll also be posting on my Instagram at Mackenzie_Benson, so you can also go there, and I'll type that down below so that you can actually find it. Thanks, bye!